Welcome to another tutorial from Athena's Little Gems. Today we will be making basic ear wires. For this project you will need 20 gauge round half-hard wire, round nose pliers, wire cutters, flat nose pliers, a cup burr, or otherwise you could also use a needle mini file, tape measure, and also a dowel. I like to use the handle of my cup burr as a dowel. You could also use a large knitting needle and whatever you could find that's roughly about 12 to 14 millimeters. So what we do first, I'm going to take aside my tool so you can see this much better. First I will measure 2 pieces of wire, 2 inches each. Now when I cut my wires to be exactly the same length, I measure the first one out, and the second piece that I measure, I use my first piece as a measuring tool. That way my wires remain exactly the same length. Okay, there's my 2 pieces of wire. Now with the round nose pliers, I need to make a loop on each piece of wire on one end. Now you need to make these loops almost exactly the same if you can possibly get them the same size. A little tip is just mark your tool where you're going to make your loop, and you can make your loops exactly the same size every time. When you get more experienced, you have your eye as a measure, and that's usually what I do. Now I have 2 loops, one on each wire, and these are about the same. Now using the dowel, I'm going to place the loop so it's curling away from the dowel, and I'm going to wrap my wire. Sometimes it's a little slippery when you do this, but just be patient with it. Wrap your wire around the dowel and leave it to where there's about a 5 millimeter gap from the loop. Once you've done the first one, you can do the second one. In time and with a bit of practice, you can do this move with both wires together at the same time. Needs a bit more, there you go. So I have 2 hooks. I'm just going to use my flat nose pliers to straighten out the position of the loop. Now, in order to get these 2 hooks exactly the same, you need to line them up side by side. And once they're in position, you can gauge whether or not you need to make some adjustments. And these look pretty much the same. So the next job I'm going to do is line up the ends, and I do these 2 together because it makes it easier to place the tool right at the same position on each ear wire, and gauge roughly about 1/4 of an inch from the tip and make a slight bend upwards away from the loop. And there you have 2 ear wires that are exactly the same size, shape, and almost ready to use. Now we're going to use the cup burr. Now the cup burr is like a little mini file with a rounded shape, concaved, and it's designed so that you can place your wire inside the little cup and it files down the sharp edges. and that'll ensure that when you wear your ear wire, it's not going to cause any injury. Make sure that those edges are nicely filed down. Once you've done one, you do the other one. And there we have two nicely shaped ear wires ready for use. And that's it for the basic ear wires. Thank you for watching, and see you in another tutorial from Athena's Little Gems.